Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is Tuesday, and you guys know what that means. We are here to do Queen Sugar. This is season 6, episode 4, To a Different Day. And actually, this is one of 2 videos that I had intended on putting out today. And I didn't do the first video because I couldn't get it edited. I did a voiceover video, and I was going to just kind of talk about what my thoughts were for this season of Queen Sugar. I kind of felt like maybe I was all over the place, so I wanted us to do like a show outside of the show, and I'm gonna try to incorporate it here, but I need you guys to bear with me. I really, really do. We are going to talk about this episode. It just wasn't a lot, and I think I know the reason why. Okay, but if you're new to my channel, please stick around. Consider subscribing. Wait to the end and then consider subscribing, because I'm about to blow your mind, right? Like, I think that I'm about to blow your mind. So stick around. Thumbs up, everybody. Don't forget. Do it now before you forget. And don't forget, let's talk about it down below, you guys. Let's hash it out down below. I want your honest feedback. But first, let's get into To a Different Day, which is this episode 4 of Queen Sugar, season 6. Okay, so first and foremost, we have Charley. Charley has an interview that she is doing, a virtual interview with Gayle King. And Gayle King asks about the farmers' lawsuit against the USDA and the federal government. Charley lets us know that she's sort of spearheading that, even though we've not seen a lot of feedback about Charley with regards to that, right? Some things, but not really, right? We've heard Ralph Angel talk about it way more than Charley. All right. Gayle also asks her about her bid for state office. And she talked about how successful she was down at St. Josephine's Parish. And she also brought up and talked largely about her reconciliation with Davis. And Charley did a good job. She talked about how it's not about words, it's about show improve and leading by example. She talked about the organizations that he's donating to, which are largely female organizations based on helping females who have been abused physically, sexually, this type of thing. He is donating to a lot of those organizations, and he's really putting forth an effort in by example of an individual, showing that he's an individual who has changed his ways. He's a different kind of man now, and she did a great job. Charley's good at this. She's a good PR person at kind of spinning it. This is the first time we hear her mention Tia, his daughter. He's working very hard to be a great father to our son Micah and his daughter Tia. And then, Gayle's satisfied with that. She kind of flips it a little bit and asks her about how she overcomes obstacles. And basically, Charley says, I don't accept no. I don't accept no. I give that no right back to you in terms of, no, I reject your no. And I raise you 2 yeses, okay? She did what Charley does. She looked good. She looks very polished, and she's very professional, very comfortable behind the microphone, right? When she gets back to her hotel room, she sees where Davis has filled her hotel room with flowers and balloons and candles and just had it just set up beautifully. And he's written her a lovely card telling her that he's proud of her, and that he loves her. And she calls him on the phone and she leaves him this long soliloquy about, you know, blah, 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 yada, 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 blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I love you too. I was just like, point. Okay. All right. So it's really kind of crazy that and it wasn't until you guys were talking about it down in the comments, and then Gayle kind of mentioned it, just how bad Davis really was. It's really kind of crazy to me that Charley even still remotely has places of love for him. Yeah, I could see her loving him as the father of her son, her only child. I can definitely see that. But for her to have this intimate feel for him is crazy to me. It's like, where did you find that from? Typically when you go, when something so, tumultuous happens, it's like you lose a little something, and it's almost like she hasn't lost anything. It's weird, right? But we'll talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk about Aunt Vi in Hollywood. Hollywood is taking little Gabriel fishing, and Vi, while they're off fishing, Vi tries to talk his mother into going ahead and finally filing for a divorce from her husband. She kind of scoffs a little bit because she feels like, oh, he's not gonna take it well. The thing about filing for a divorce is that you have to have an address. They have to know where you are in order to put it on the paperwork and all of that. So he's gonna know where she is, But Vi, that's what I was thinking. But Vi gives her the number of a lawyer who has specialized in helping other women at the shelters. So maybe they have a way around all that. I don't know. Meanwhile, Hollywood has a great time fishing with Gabriel. And he takes a moment and he commends Gabriel because Gabriel caught his first fish. And he said, can we let the fish go and go back to being happy? Now, it was a red flag for me because I felt like, oh, this might be a child that will take off and run. You know what I'm saying? Run away and try to run back home or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's making me real nervous. But Hollywood commended him for having a kind heart to let the fish go, And he referenced his mom saying what it is. I always say, if you find somebody that loves animals, they're not going to have a problem treating you good. If you find somebody to tell you they can't stand animals, and they don't have a open heart towards animals, I don't know. I don't trust that. I'm just going to be honest with you. We also see where Vi calls Prosper and talks to him. And it is a very, very good conversation. I couldn't help but notice that Vi kept calling Prosper babe. 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 I thought that was weird. I thought it was weird. I thought it was odd. I thought it was disrespectful to her husband. And I thought it was inappropriate. I don't know. It was just the way it was. She was constantly repeating. Even when she got off the phone, she said, "Okay, bye, bye, baby." I just was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I was uncomfortable with it. And I probably put 20 on 10, but I'm just saying it was odd. Did y'all notice? But let's just continue on. We also get to see in this episode Vi talking to Raw for the first time. Right? They didn't talk at the house when they had dinner. They talking now though, but we're gonna get to it. Okay, so let's move on to let's just do Micah real quick, okay? Micah has a deep conversation with his friend about everything that's going on here in the United States, and wouldn't it be great to move to Africa? His friend wants to move to Africa as soon as he gets the wherewithal to do so, and because of all the police brutality and the injustice against African Americans here in the United States, he would love to take the first opportunity he could to move back to Africa, or move to Africa for the first time, because he ain't originally from Africa. Not with them pig lips. No. Anywho, so, not that people in Africa can't have pink lips, I'm just saying. Okay. Also, the guy lets him know after he says, he gotta go. He want to get flowers for this girl he's seeing. And the guy was like, who? Let me see. Dr. Stetson. And he was like, where did you hear that? How do you know? He was like, I can tell by the way you look at her and how you smitten every time you get to see her. I was like, that could be indicative of a crush. It is not necessarily indicative of them dating. It was just a reach. It was a reach. Well, Michael was like, don't tell nobody. And I was like, oh, no, I would never would. Get her a big bunch of flowers. Really, really, lay it on thick. Don't be cheap. So he does. He takes the big, beautiful bunch of flowers over there. As soon as he knocks on the door and walks in with those flowers, her face fell. She did not want him there. Okay? She felt like, why are you here with these flowers? People gonna talk. And when she stood up, she stood probably a good 2 feet taller than him. Probably because she had heels on, but also it was just visually, you could see how the conversation was going to go. I mean, visually, she kind of loomed over him. So when she went into her spiel about being a grown woman, okay, with a grown woman's job and grown woman business, okay, you don't come to my place of business with this fool la la la, okay? I was like, okay, because she was standing over you like a grown woman, like you was a little bitty boy, like she could pat you right on top of your head, okay? And then she buttoned it right on up, kneading it right on up to my, we had fun though, didn't we? It's just a booty, just booty, just lots of booty. Okay, never, ever, ever have I ever said I wanted us to go together. We don't go together. You don't buy me flowers. What you do is buy condoms, okay? And you call me and say, you up? You woke? Honk 3 times and meet me behind the building. You know what I'm saying? But we don't go out on dates. He got sad. But he was fine. He was laying, on his bed, had his headphones on, and he was blue. He was melancholy. I was feeling bad. I was feeling mighty, mighty bad. In comes his friend with the pink lips. He wants to know, you want to go to this Delta party? He was like, nah, I don't want to go to this Delta party. He was like, well, man, what's wrong with you? Dr. Fine dumped me. She didn't dump you. She ended y'all sexual escapades. She would have had to pick you up to dump you. Like, are you connecting with this? He was like, I'm just out of thoughts. I just don't know how I feel about it. And the guy was like, wow, what kind of flowers did you take her? Then he says, okay, come on, sit down here on the floor with me. So he sat down, and Micah just laying on the bed looking at him like, oh, sit down on the floor with you for what? What are you talking about? First of all, the floor is nasty, but I digress. Sit down on the floor and we're going to meditate. This is what I do to center myself. And just close your eyes and shut out everything in your mind. It's easier said than done, trust me. And, it'll help you focus and center yourself and just get you out of this weird place that you're in, right? And so Micah sits down on the floor with him and he going to meditate with him. I was like, y'all going to be kissing next episode. But I digress. Let's just play along, shall we? Let's just play along. All right. So that's Micah. Let's talk about Billie and Prosper. I'm kind of side-eyeing Prosper a little bit for a lot of different reasons. One, Prosper don't have no scars on the back of his head at all. No scars whatsoever. It's throwing me off. It's throwing me off. It's pissing me off, and I feel like I'm focusing on Prosper's head every time I see Prosper. I need to see some semblance of the fact that your head was bust wide open so bad that they had to put you into an induced coma. But it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna deal with all of this a little bit later on. Billie brings him breakfast. This is the first time we get to see Billie and Prosper interact and talk together. She's been on there now since episode 2. And this is the first time we see them talk and interact together. And it is contentious. Okay? She brings him breakfast. He was like, I'm not very hungry. Later on, we find out when he talked to Vi and asked Vi to bring him some food around now, that he turned that food down because she can't cook. Them grits did look a little stale when she tipped that plate over. I was like, ooh, them grits did not move. Ooh, them grits was like, ugh. And she was like, come on, grits. And they was like, ugh. And she was like, grits, why don't you, ugh. I was like, ooh, them some stiff grits. Oh, you should just put a little bit more water in them. Oh, but, you know, she comes around with the cough. She asked him about taking his meds. He was like, I take my meds in a little while. She was like, you've been saying that. He was like, I'm going to keep saying it because it's my business. And she was like, have you thought about a caregiver? I mean, I watched you kind of struggle to see about yourself. And, I mean, she can't be talking about but one or two things. When you say see about yourself, like, are you think you saying you smelling your daddy? Like, I mean, what is you trying to say? Trying to say Prosper ain't keeping his body clean? Prosper's like, I do fine taking care of my body and my medicine. I don't need no nurse coming around here to see about me. She was like, well, I already called them for today. I ordered somebody for today. And he was like, well, you can just call and unorder them. She was like, just give it a chance. Then he asked her about her relationships. She breezed right past it. You know, it's not the best, that type of thing. Later on, she do the same thing with Nova. All right. And then he asked her about her and Nova. You and Nova getting along? Y'all doing all right? And she was like, not really. You know, he was like, y'all used to be so close. That's weird. I was like, why Prosper not connecting with the whole thing about you and Jimmy Dale? I don't get it. Okay. Later on, the nurse get there. They both agree they vaccinated. They feel comfortable being around each other. She's a pretty little old thing. Soon as she take that mask off, baby, he see how pretty she is. She look like Patti LaBelle mama. She's a pretty little old thing. And then he wanted to play cards with her. You know, he wanted to flirt. He was flirting with her a little bit. She was beautiful, and he was liking that. And she could sing, baby. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no river wide enough. Prosper said, you best to do it. You best to do it. Keep me from getting to you, babe. Prosper was like, Okay, he was feeling it, huh? It's a good moment, all right? Then let's talk about Nova, okay? We're going to roll Billie into Nova, okay? Because this is the last time we see Billie. We see where Nova is putting in security cameras in her home. Dominic comes over being chivalrous. He wants her to know he there. Whatever you need, I got you. Okay? If you on your way home, you call me, I'll meet you outside and watch you. Okay? And make sure you get in the house safe, right? She let him know it ain't just the police, it's fans of the police. And she done written several articles and people ain't happy, right? All right. So, Billie come over and they having coffee and they had a conversation. Now we find out in this conversation, one, Billie relationship with her husband or spouse or whatever at home is rejection. It's not great. All right. She doesn't really mention her children very much at all. But that's fine. We also find out that she clears up some things from last week. We assumed that Jimmy Dale raped her, but what he did was he lured her somewhere and flattered her, and then tried to attack her, and she clawed away from him and ran off, but nobody believed her because he went and told everybody that they did it. I was like, something tells me, Billie, you really didn't say enough. I don't know. It just seems odd that I don't know. I mean, I forget who mentioned it in the comments last week that they just don't see Prosper um knowing that someone did this to his daughter and him not doing anything. And I have to say, after seeing this episode, I agree. Although their relationship was a little contentious, when she went to put her hand on his, he looked at it like she was hot acid. Like it was just not something that he was used to her doing. And he was, he wasn't offended by it, but he was almost a little bit like, I know you ain't touching me. Almost a little bit. It was odd. It was very, very odd. So now we find out that Jimmy Dale didn't rape her, but he attempted to rape her. And, maybe I stand corrected. I thought this was the final straw for Ernest to go over there and mollywop Jimmy Dale and run him out of town. But now I hear her retell the story. Maybe not. Maybe not. Nonetheless, Nova apologizes for not believing her and promises, one of two promises she does in this episode, promises to support her going forward. We also see where she goes over to Roz and she discovers that what's going on over at Ralph Angels has everything to do with her because of what she did when she wrote that book, Blessings in Blood. When she wrote that book, she alluded to some things that may or may not have happened on that land with her daddy. And now those chickens are coming home to roost, and Ralph Angel and Dollar are paying the price for that. She also, at that time, promises Ralph Angel, this is promise number 2, to make it right. The last time we see Nova, we see her smoking on the front porch. You know what I'm saying? A little of that, chief, you know what I'm saying? Collard greens, Mary Jane. And Dominic comes over. This is the second time she sees Dominic. The first time she's wearing a mask and he isn't. The second time, neither one of them wearing masks. She pulls that joint right on out and passes it to him. And he pulls it right on in, right? Okay. At the same time, her informant pulls up to the front. He's got a mask on, and she walks to the car, and she was like, "What you doing here?" He was like, "They gunning for you. They coming for you. It's all the scuttlebutt. They know I talked to you." And she was like, "Well, what about you?" He was like, "Oh, don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. I'm gonna dip out of the office for a couple of days. Out of sight is out of mind." That is not how hate works. That is not how hate works. Okay, that is definitely not how police department hate works. But okay, let's go along with it. He was like, "But cover your behind and you lay low too." She was like, "I can't lay low. I got too much going on." He was like, "Nova, you got to lay low. I just wanted to make sure you was okay." And he, shutters on off, Dominic knows that it's a police officer. He gives her this, this warm, heartfelt story. And she was like, "Well, how do you know there's a police officer? He's wearing a mask." He was like, "Well, you tend to know him when you see him. I know him when I see him." And so she's just like, "Oh, do tell, they smoking. So, once you start smoking, you start relaxing and start talking, and they start laughing about how good it is, And he tells her about him and his brother. Now, Loretta is his sister, but he don't mention Loretta. How his mama had problems, and him and his brother were taken from his mother. And because the police was always there at their house, eventually they was taken and given to his grandmother. And his grandmother was full of so much love and joy that it filled him with love and joy. And he ended up forgiving his mother. No mention of Loretta. But I digress. Let's move on. Okay, last time we see Nova and Dominic for this episode. Let's go to Ralph, Angel, and Darla. When we first see Ralph, Angel, and Darla in this episode, they are laying in bed trying to be happy. Trouble knocks at the door, okay? And it's the sheriff, the one sheriff they got in the whole county, the one sheriff. They ain't got but one sheriff that just is assigned strictly to the Bordelons. Whatever the Bordelons has going on, if they having a farting contest, okay, pick the teeth contest, he is there to regulate. This one sheriff, right? Ralph Angel goes out there, come to find out he done got a warrant, child. I don't get it. What judge right? Okay, never mind. Anyway, he done got a warrant to come out there and dig up their property. Now they got all the manpower in the world out there. Tents, covering up random places. Ralph Angel has a huge property. Huge property. He is growing sugarcane. It is a huge swaths of land. How would they know where to dig? I mean, I don't get it. They got tents up, they got trucks up, they making all kinds of noise. Ralph Angel bucks up at him. Darla comes to the door and she says, Ralph Angel, come inside, please, because she don't want him to get arrested and or shot dead there on his own property. Okay. But he's still being slightly aggressive. And when he goes out there, he tells them that they're getting very close to his mother's grave. And the warrant does not cover that part of the land. So evidently the warrant only covers a certain part of the land. And while he's out there, he digs up a big piece of the land and puts it in a sandwich bag. And when he does that, he calls his friend Benny and tells him he's got some soil samples he need him to run. Now, you would think before the start of every crop, you would do soil samples. You would think. But okay, it's fine. It's fine. You would think throughout the season, you would run the soil samples just to make sure you got pH and balance and this type of thing. It's a science to this thing, right? You know what I'm saying? But he suspects some things. And Darla commends him. How did you even know to check? He was like, I just had a feeling. She commends him for continuing to learn about agriculture, about farming. She calls him smart because he even had the notion that something was going on. We learn later on when Benny calls that the sample has a high amount of pesticide, so high that it has to be purposefully done. And now these people are out here digging up the land to boot. He suspects the Landrys, okay? Somehow, some way, it comes down to the point where when Nova comes over, he tells her the reason why they're doing that is because she gave them the idea when she wrote it in Blessings and Blood. And so the Landrys took that notion and along with poisoning his land are now having his land dug up. Okay? And we also get to see where Darla tells him, after she tells him he's smart and she's proud of him, she tells him that when she was looking up stuff for Blue, scholarship for school, she discovered that she herself had a scholarship and some money that was put aside for her for college. And she did do some college, but she didn't finish. So that money is just still sitting there. And she said, I was going to ask my mom for it because they're not using it. They don't need it. And it's just sitting there. It was money that was put aside for me. I was going to ask her for it. So it's not like asking her for money. It's just asking for what's mine anyway. Ralph Angel tells her to wait. She said, but Ralph Angel, we can't keep going on with these bills and these payday loans and all of this stuff, and the crop didn't come through. We gotta do something. And he was like, I understand, and I'm not saying you don't have a good idea. I'm just saying, trust me a little while longer. Just wait. I was like, Smart, dumb. Sometimes you're so smart you're stupid. That's a real saying. I'm not picking on Ralph Angel. That is a real saying. Okay? Sometimes you're so smart you're stupid. Okay? All right. Money free and clear. Money free and clear. But it's fine. Just trust me, darling. At the same time, he's sitting there just watching them, making sure they doing what's right on his property. It's dark now. It's nighttime. We haven't talked to Charley. We haven't talked. Nova's come and said what she had to say and shuttered on off. Okay, now we see it. Hollywood and Vi's there, and first thing Ralph Angel said was, it's nothing you can say to me that's going to make me feel any worse. Hollywood jumped in and said, come on, man, now we not out here for all of that. We out here to check on you, to see about you. And ain't Vi walked up to him like she was so confused as to why he was so abrasive towards her. Like, I did not come out here to make you feel bad. Oh, really? Oh, really? Because you've been working on making somebody, some way, somehow, if it wasn't Ralph Angel, it was somebody else, feel bad about every goddamn thing. Except for this stranger that you putting up in a hotel and feeding and giving money out of register. You got a lot of words of encouragement for her. But when it comes to Ralph Angel, okay, not so much. Okay, so then we are here to help you and see whatever we can do for you, Ralph Angel. I am just here to help you, Ralph Angel. If you don't get your... Ralph Angel, I am sorry for how I spoke to you. I was so hurt that you were taking my baby away. I understand now that it was for his good and you and Darla's choice. Please forgive me. What's happening here on your daddy's land, my brother's land? What can I do to help? Not, why are you... Ralph Angel, I would not... Girl, goodbye. Listen, let's talk about what's going on here. Let's talk about what my theory is, okay? Let me tell you, the idea came to me because My Twisted Life of Poetry and TV does Queen Sugar reviews as well. Now, she had mentioned that she felt like the titles of this season's episodes were a part of a larger poem or type of writing. At the time, I was like, that makes sense. And it's so Queen Sugar, like it's so Ava DuVernay-esque, right? But it wasn't until... And listen, I had my thoughts about it all being a dream and Prosper really having passed on or still being in the coma. I had my own personal thoughts about that. I had started, giving up on that idea because last episode we see, or the last couple episodes, we see Prosper come home. We see Prosper talking to people on FaceTime. We're seeing these different variations of Prosper. And I'm like, well, I mean, sloppily done, but I guess Prosper's okay. So I go to see her review for episode 5 and episode 3, okay? Because we're on 4 now. And she couldn't remember the full name of all of the episodes, but she was reciting it, and it came to me. It came to me just as clear. And I thought to myself, yeah, they are dreaming. Okay, let me read the titles to you, okay? Episode 1 is If You Could Enter Their Dreaming and Dream with Them Deeply, You Would Come Back Different to a Different Day, okay? Episode 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me read it to you without the numbers. If you could enter their dreaming and dream with them deeply, you would come back different to a different day. Okay? I believe, it is my belief, that everyone inside of this season is dreaming in one form, fashion or another, because it's so disjointed, it's so disconnected. It was like Nova walked out of the blue and was like, Ralph Angel, what's going on? And he doesn't even look back. He just tells her that it was because of her book that gave them the idea. And she was like, I'm so sorry. It was just, everybody knows that wasn't true. And I promised to make it right, and turns and walks off. We see where they float in and out of these masks, even vaccinated or not. They float in and out of these masks, right? It's my opinion that we're not inside of one big dream. We're inside of one giant Queen Sugar dream, but we are, the dialogue and the feelings that we're hearing from each individual character is from within their own dream or nightmare or anxiety. Because, like I said, it's so disconnected. It's like they're all in the same room, but they're wearing those virtual reality glasses, you know what I'm saying? And you don't know what's going on the screen. You just see them flailing and stuff. That's what it feels like to me. Okay, let's just talk about it really quick. Charley. Okay, Charley is under this impression that she can have it all. She can have that old relationship back, of love and wonderfulness and wholeness, and she is back to her own razor sharp PR self, and she's gonna be, this congresswoman or senator, and everything's just going to be really great. Davis loves her and she loves him. It's just going to be peachy. She's in a completely different type of dream. It also would explain why Ralph Angel is not calling immediately all of the clan to come. Okay, yeah, he's got his issues with what ain't Vi, but it's different now. This season is different, right? It's not the cohesive Bordelons that we're used to. Follow me now. Ain't Vi in Hollywood. Hollywood, his dreams, his thoughts, I think, are of children, and he's having these moments with Gabriel that seem sort of surreal. Okay, I don't know that Vi and Hollywood's dream is separate. I think we are probably standing inside of Vi's dream, and Hollywood is a part of that, much like he's just been a part of everything that she has going on. You know what I'm saying? And I think Vi, in an attempt to reclaim her own independence and usurp her will kind of over Hollywood, is kind of like pushing against something because you don't think you deserve it, right? She has created this what do you call it, savior situation. She's got a savior complex in her dream, and she's created this woman that she can save, who has a child which would be perfect for Hollywood. I think the goal is to get this child to become hers in Hollywood. This is what she's dreaming. This is what she's thinking. Follow me. Nova. We've seen Nova be scared and frightened and nervous like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, which is not Nova. Nova has always been a roaring lion. We have not seen roaring lion. We also have not heard one word about Calvin. Not one person has asked about Calvin. I think in her dreams, Calvin is pushed away, and she has created Dominic. And Dominic is supportive and understanding and cultured and well-rounded, and he likes to get high too, right? And chivalrous. Hell, she's not even in the same house set up, right? Micah, I believe, is let me just go back to Nova. I think a lot of what Nova is doing, how she's moving, speaks to her own guilt. I think in Nova's dream or nightmare or her world, she's guilty. She's afraid. she's weakened. Her self-esteem is lowered. Okay? And she's created this night. All right? Micah. I think Micah is secretly gay. And he has created this world where he seems like he is, heterosexual, but because he has these other feelings, we continue to see those feelings interject themselves in the form of Mr. Pink Lips. Just saying. I'm just saying. Go with me. Billie and Prosper. I think Prosper is still in a coma. I do not think Prosper is up and alert. I think everything we're seeing with Billie and Prosper is a part of Prosper's dream. Prosper's synapses, whatever he's creating while he's in this coma. And he's got this standoffish relationship with Billie. And it's almost like he's still trying to continue to not push her away, but it's like he won't allow himself to accept that she is there to care for him and love for him. Okay? But he will accept this woman because he don't want to be alone. He don't want to be alone. He feels like the perfect person for him to be with may be a caregiver, a nurse. Okay, just saying. I'm just saying. Just go with me. Tell me what you think. This is what I'm saying. Let's talk about Ralph, Angel, and Darla. I believe Ralph Angel is his dream. Okay. Just think about the titles. To a Different Day. Let's just think about the titles. They really, really kind of speak to what, if you could enter their dreaming. His wildest dream is to make this land very, very prosperous and very, very fruitful, right? And dream with them deeply. He also wants to have everybody on board, right? Prosper, number one. I think the very telltale sign of the fact that it was Ralph Angel that was dreaming that Prosper was up and well and able to talk with him and show him the picture. I think that was Ralph Angel's dream. His dream, part of his dream was seeing Prosper. And then another part of his dream is making sure the land prospers, and he is very prosperous. Okay, he is constantly telling Darla how much he loves her, how much he's going to take care of her. This speaks directly to his own anxiety. Also, he has his anxiety about it not working. That's why he doesn't want her to get the money yet, because that's always been his way. In his dream, he wants to save the day. He wants to make it happen. So soil samples, and I had this idea, and wait on the money. Okay, he's also had this having these feelings about would you come back different? Okay, and dream with them deeply. His wildest, deepest dreams. Would you come back deeply if you had these things? But he's not quite getting it. He can't quite grasp. Every time he reaches it, that dream scoots a little bit out of his way. And so he's got these feelings towards these inner feelings towards of unforgiveness towards Nova and towards Aunt Vi, which kind of comes and goes, because that's the ebb and flow of his dream. That's the ebb and flow of his life. It's always just a little joy and a whole lot of pain, and a little joy and a whole lot of pain. And what we see in Ralph Angel's dream is him really, really struggling to get a larger piece of joy. A larger piece of joy. You know, he's hitting this brick wall in his dreams, and he's to a different day. We're at a place where he's standing now smack dab in the middle of his nightmare. At the end of the episode, they find something, and they come up with this bone, this perfectly clean bone, and it looks like it's human. I was like, first of all, that goes in the evidence bag. We all know that. Not sitting here on this table. Okay. And it's like his dream is slowly turning into a nightmare. We know that next episode, it's going to look like Ralph Angel is going to take his friend who was from prison, which I forgot to mention last week, up on his offer to help them steal. It looks like he's going to take up his offer to do that, to be the driver, the getaway driver. And then we saw a little bit about him praying and asking God to watch over him. I think all of this is a part of Ralph Angel's anxiety about not being able to make the farm work and possibly having to go back to robbing people. I think it's all a dream. I think each individual person is acting out their own dreams and anxieties and personal nightmares, and that is really what the season is based upon. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Put it down below. Okay? All right. I wish I could have given y'all a separate video and we could have had a whole separate conversation, but it's fine. You guys are adults. You are grown-ups. You are mature thinkers. You are honeybees. Okay? Let's talk about it down below. Until next time, honeybees.